Tatty. This is an AGM M14. There is so much stuff wrong with this. Rear sight is completely absent. Big old scratch in the stock. We've got a selector that doesn't select. We've got a busted selector bar out the back. That's not useful. Here, we do not have a mag. The bolt assembly is really poorly. The wheel doesn't adjust the hop. Sling loop, busted. It's in a very fucking poorly state. What we're going to try and do with this is we're going to make the wood look more realistic. We're going to completely sandblast, strip down all the black metal, and we're going to make that a lovely satin silver. We're going to put onto it the Marui VSR 10 scope that I just don't put on my VSR 10 because it's the wrong colour. We're going to scope mount it as well, I think. Nice big silver scope mount. And maybe we'll have a gun that could be reasonably attractive looking. If it doesn't, well, we'll smash it up, won't we? So what are we going to stuff inside here? I like to stick with the exact same brand of stuff on the inside. Now, I know there's a lot of people out there that would put a set of SHS gears with a Prometheus piston and all this kind of stuff, and it doesn't make a great deal of sense to do so because the parts won't marry up properly. If you're going to change the parts inside your gun, you really are better off sticking to the standard parts that are in there. Now, in some cases, you can't always fucking do that. If you've got a particular gun that's got particular parts, there might not be spares available for it. This is an AGM M14, so I could just put AGM parts in there, and I've got absolutely nothing against AGM, SEMA, JG, because regardless of what the fucking internet says, they are workhorses. SEMA are the largest manufacturer of airsoft guns on the planet. Alright, the fact they come in doing 400 FPS out the box, they might have full teeth pistons, they might not have the best steel gears, but you pick the gun up and it goes. You know, the hop unit may not apply the correct pressure to the hop rubber, it might unwind itself a little bit, but for the sake of a couple of fucking pence of O-ring, they're good guns. And this one has very clearly been thrown around like an awful bastard for a very long time. We've got the Garda hop rubbers, Garda steel cut-off lever, and the Garda steel gears. These are good parts, they're very good. I'm going to put a high torque motor in there as well if I think I need to, once I've had a little fiddle and put an 11.1 volt battery in there. Pretty much everything you see here that is body, aside from the gearbox, is going to be sent away to be blasted and then completely refinished in a beautiful satin stainless silver. What needs to be first is get the gearbox functioning correctly, rebuild the entire gun and make sure it functions, as I have replaced the upper receiver completely. The old receiver was in very poor condition, and unfortunately it did snap at the back, so I've got an entire new upper receiver for it. That's cost me about an extra £4 on top. So far this gun has cost me about £43. My budget for this, including the scope, is under £100. What I've done this time around is I've replaced the cut-off lever, and I've tried it with just another standard cut-off lever. I want to make sure that this is still going to do semi-auto properly before I start really delving inside the gun. This should now fire semi-auto. If it doesn't, I don't want to start fucking around with the inside of the gun just yet. Let's try and get that one problem solved, one thing at a time. As you can see, the entire thing is completely encrusted with shit. It is bad, but that is now working. On this side, it is making the cut-off lever go, which is good. That's what we want. After I put in the standard but perfectly functional cut-off lever, it still wouldn't do semi-auto, so we're going to delve deeper inside it and see what we can find wrong with it. Now this is pretty bad. I mean, fucking hell, look at that. And then to go further, just look at it. I'm amazed this thing does 322 feet per second, and I'm amazed it turns over at all on my 9.6 volt battery. I mean, that is awful. This is going to need some real cleaning done to it. It's all been cleaned up, all the shit off the inside of there so far. Same as all the little internal parts, all the bits of shit are all taken off. Now what we're going to do is check. Put some pressure on there. Look at that. That is fantastic. Look at that. It's pushing back on me. That is a decent air seal. After a thorough fucking clean, this one is now ready to go. There's little bits that have stained. It looks like there's grease in there, but there's not. There's actually staining. and it's gone deep, deep, deep into it. It looks much worse here than what it actually does. I'll try and get a real good close-up of it, but it really is just staining and there's not a lot I can do about it. We're going to put my favourite grease inside gearboxes now, because sometimes I know people like to use all kinds of whatever brand new fucking nonsense is out there. We're not going to go with that. We're going to go with silicone spray. And that's it. That is all to be required inside there. Nothing more is required. We'll do the other side as well. That is now everything back together. The only thing I've changed on the inside is A, I've cleaned all the shit out of it, and B, we've got the Garda steel gears inside it, which is going to make it a lot nicer. I've changed over the motor to a high torque. I haven't changed the spring, I've left that as standard, because I want to see if the gun is going to function first of all. It won't do anything if I'm full auto right now, so you can see all the bits are still not on it. But I'll manipulate it, it's going to jump clean up my hands hopefully. That is so much faster. All of the externals are now back on the gearbox. The Garda steel cut-off lever is in place. We're going to be inserting a bushing into this little gap here and gluing it in place so it cannot be selected over into full auto. We're going to use a reasonably low-grade glue so I can remove it if I need to. I don't want to remove the bar completely, although that is an option, but I'd like it to be so that I do get a jam or something similar. I can just pop that piece out, whap it to full auto, give it a test and bring it back again if we need to do that just to unlock it. So as we can see, that is rather snappy, and that is on a very small 7.4 LiPo. So from this point onwards, let's try and get that together and see what the power's doing. Very happy. This is where we're at so far. Horrible, isn't it? Well, hopefully it's going to do what I want it to do. With the barrel that's in it, we are getting 315. That was the same spring it always had in there. It's much cleaner, the FPS is more consistent, but I have dropped 5 FPS, which, as we all know from being on the internet, means you've got to change every part in your gun. Or we'll put a longer barrel in there, because you know what, that's the smart thing to do. I'm going to be running a suppressor on this anyway, probably about so long, about that long, so we can get a big fucking barrel in here. But for a nice chrono test, it's running off a standard mag. 317, 314. 350. We've now got a very slightly longer barrel in it. As you can see, it is that much. But that is a 6.02 barrel. The power has dramatically increased from the average of 315 it was getting up to 352. And I've not seen much variance yet either. 353. 356. 354, and that is hopping a 0.25. So for the people that say that putting a longer or tighter barrel in does not increase feet per second, we have just literally gained about 30 FPS to 35 FPS. As you can see, that is lovely and consistent. That's fantastic. That is everything that we want. Beautiful. Now it's time to take her apart again and make her look really fucking pretty. So, the finished article, there it is. This gave me a lot of troubles. There were so many damaged parts. I tried to soft weld bits of the world's worst monkey metal. It was absolutely horrific. Now up here, got this little chip here I just could not get rid of. A lot of this other stuff is just marks where I've got greasy hands. I'm not doing the tactical cunt, look at me, I'm doing a fucking YouTube video, I better wear some gloves things. It's just because I'm absolutely filthy. I'm covered in grease and nasty, and honestly I want my fucking dinner. I've been here for a while doing this. But yes, I'm very pleased with this. It is worked out very well. Again, this mark, I buffed out as much as I could, but that is the best I could do. But as you can see, with a little bit of polishing, you can see the wood grain has really come out, and that's not bad considering that this is a plastic stock. With lots of varnish and buff and varnish and buff and varnish and buff over and over again, you will get that beautiful effect. All the parts did go away, they got blasted, and then I ended up having to make my own concoction of paint. The Cerakoting was going to cost too much, and unfortunately I was running out of time. It's a case of laying down a lot of primer, decent primer, and then over the top of it mixing your own paint and air gunning it on. And it's that simple. Lots and lots of hardener into the paint, and then lots of very, very thin layers and buff in between. But you can see how immense that has come out. I mean, that is fantastic. It matches the scope absolutely perfectly. Give me a second, I'll flip her over. Now this side, as you can see, same thing. Lots of polishing means the wood grain effect has come out wonderfully. Obviously with certain black parts on here, it is 3 colours, but I actually quite like it. I'm not offended by what it looks like. I hate that there's a winding wheel hole in the fucking standard mag. Oh, I hate that so much. I can't be bothered to fix it at this point. I really can't. The stock plate does open, and again we're nicely colorized around here. I mean, that's come out beautifully as well. It's still firing at an average of 355 to 353. That is great. That is a fantastic piece there. I didn't want any more or less power. That is good enough for me. Obviously I did want to have more power attached to this. I would have liked it to be doing 400, but the amount of jip the gun was giving me, and with my budget involved, it just was not worth me trying to keep taking it apart and back together with me. I lost a fucking upper receiver. That cracked. The barrel started to warp. We've got little tiny pieces that were starting to give. It was not going to keep coming apart and go back together. I mean, the gun is an original AGM from all the way back when they first were released. It's a fucking old gun. So the fact that it does look this good is just, I am very, very, very happy. And it is very heavy and very, very solid.